Triple E EDC back again with another knife video. This is the CRKT CEO. This is a actually an exclusive version put out by BladeHQ, which has this green micarta, the gold liners, and D2 steel. Now, the normal version, just so you guys know, comes in FRN or GRN, I should say, which is basically a plastic on the handles, and it has I think stainless steel liners, and then it comes in HCR13 MOV steel. So let's go ahead and do a quick size comparison, and we'll get into the good and the bad of this knife. So first of all, let's look at the Paramilitary 2, the Para 3, and actually I'm going to turn this on its side because it's sort of an upside down, because it doesn't stay because of the clip where it's supposed to be, so I'm just going to turn it on its side like this. But you guys can still see the size comparison. It actually is a pretty good size. It's an in-between size, in between the Spyderco Paramilitary 2 and the Para 3. And let's also compare it with a couple of longer, thin knives, the Benchmade 940. You can see it's a similar size to the 940, but much slimmer in the vertical profile. Here is, dropping things. Here is the Spyderco AD-20. So you can see it fits right in with a lot of these longer, thin knives. Here is TRM Atom, and let's do a Benchmade Griptilian. So overall, it's a pretty good size knife. It has the length for pretty much most EDC cutting tasks you would need, but also is a nice compact size. The last size comparison I'm going to do for you guys actually is really what it, and I'm doing this for a reason, is the Bic round stick, and I'm actually going to close this up and put this next to it, and the Sharpie. So the reason I'm putting these as a size comparison next to it is because this is intended on the width size comparison to be about the size of a Sharpie, or about the size of a little larger than a pen, so that when you it's called the CEO, so that when you put it in your pocket and it goes down, all you see on the outside is the pocket clip, and it looks just like almost a pen profile. So I think that is a bit of slick engineering by CRKT, and something that's worth mentioning. So let's start off the good with that. The good is it can be carried, it's light enough and slim enough to be carried in a shirt pocket. It's also just a great size that isn't going to scare people, even though, you know, this is a longer knife. I think it's about a 3.5-inch blade or so. But even though it has that nice size, it still isn't something that's going to scare people because it's so long and thin. So that is definitely a plus. Another plus is it has the IKBS bearing system, and is really, really smooth for something coming out of CRKT. Despite a very light blade, it really comes down very smoothly. The blade has almost no weight to it whatsoever, and just really comes down smoothly and sets into that detent well. It also comes flying out, and I think the way that it's designed with the detent is actually quite ingenious. You have this nice, you know, thumb stud that sticks up, you know, not too much from the micarta scales, and really gives a satisfying open when you open it, as it really flies out. Now, you don't open it normally like you would a normal thumb stud. Usually you're going to push with some upward force and a little bit out in order to pull it up. You will feel, if you open this normally like you would every other thumb stud opening knife, that it just sort of gets caught here and doesn't feel quite right. But once you get used to the motion of opening it, it really opens, you know, flies out, like I said, every time the way you need it to. So that's that's quite nice as well. I like the gold accents on this with the green. I think it looks excellent. The normal one is black with silver accents. That looks excellent as well. Although I really do think the Micarta texture on here is really, really, really nice. And I was really surprised by how nice it is for something coming out of CRKT, which, you know, is sort of hit or miss on quality sometimes. And I think this is a really hit. It's a hit on quality. The fit and finish on this is pretty good, especially at the price point. So the normal one, the 8CR 13 MOV one with the black plastic is about 40 bucks. This was, the upgraded version was about 60 bucks. I got it on the second go round when BladeHQ released this a second time. They don't usually release exclusives a second time. I'm not sure if they're going to be releasing a third round. This wasn't the giveaway. I gave it away in the 1,000 subscriber giveaway, and that should be going to its new owner soon. However, this wasn't nice enough and a good enough value, which is another good thing about it, that I will probably buy it again if it becomes available. All right, so the stonewash, I'm sort of jumping to the lead on that, but the stonewash on this is pretty nice. It rivals, you know, Kershaw's stonewash or ZT's stonewash, both from Kai. CRKT is obviously a different company, but they do the black stonewash pretty well here. As you can see, the D2 steel is done pretty well as well, and the blade feels somewhat substantial for being such a small blade. The actual blade itself is pretty thin. Let's go ahead and take a look at another size comparison on this. How about we look at the 940? So this is the 943, and you can see it's about as thin as the swedge on top, but the 940 is actually a little bit thicker. Let's look at another one, the Benchmade Griptilian. You can see that's substantially thinner than the Griptilian. And let's see if I have the Bugout with me. May not have the Bugout with me. Oh, I do have the Bugout with me today. It's got a nice thin stock. So yeah, it's about as thin as the Bugout. So the stock itself is pretty thin, which is quite nice, and that's good as well. The fact that it's a liner lock actually works well on this knife. You get the nice feeling of the micarta on both sides, and then you get, you know, the liner lock. It has a pretty good lockup here. The blade is thin enough that you're getting a solid lockup even with the liner lock, and so that's good as well. So that's pretty much the good. The bad is, I'll say, the pivot itself is unimaginative. I wish they, you know, did something nicer on the pivot. They got these nice gold accents here. Would have probably set it off nicely to do something there with the gold. I think that's sort of a missed opportunity there for them. The CRKT logo on the clip. I mean, if this is something that you were going to have they advertise that this is being something you can put in a shirt pocket, like in a workplace environment. And with the CRKT there, I'm not sure that was the best choice. They probably should have gone with, you know, something that was a little bit more subtle. I even think that not doing these holes here would have been a good choice as well, so that it was just one, you know, continuous, unremarkable clip that could have been, you know, that wouldn't give away the fact that there's a knife there. Also, the fact that the clip is not recessed here with the recessed screws is an issue. You can see there's definitely a step up there. You can see that the micarta does slide and guide up onto this, so that is good. But I think that they could have just, the fact that this is a liner lock, they could have recessed it in further and not had to deal with that hump. But I do commend them for actually thinking ahead enough, and if they're not going to recess it, they did put that, you know, sort of ramp there in order to guide your pocket onto and avoid the getting caught on the edge of that clip. Okay, so what else don't I like about this? Well, I think pretty much that's it, to be honest. It's not something I think I would EDC every day, just because it is, you know, it feels like it's not quite, it's not, it doesn't feel substantial in the hand. I will say that. So I wish it was a little bit more substantial in the hand. And the ergonomics on this are lacking, but you would expect that from a knife that is this thin. It doesn't, you know, it is not meant to be ergonomic in the hand. It is meant to be long and slim. So, you know, that's definitely a drawback there. I think that's pretty much it for the drawbacks. But overall, I would recommend this. I think this, especially the BladeHQ version, is well worth 60 bucks. Is the regular version worth 40 bucks? I haven't handled it. I would prefer to see that version more around 30. But at 40, it's not a terrible buy. But I would prefer to see that one more around 30, especially because it's sporting plastic scales. If they had G10 scales, I would think that $40 is definitely a decent buy on that. But with the plastic scales they have, I would like to see that more at 30. You know, but overall, I think that $60, if BladeHQ releases this version again, this is pretty much a home run at 60 bucks, despite, you know, the several flaws that I've pointed out. It's not a perfect knife, but it is an excellent knife for the price and for what you're getting, and it does what it's designed for. It does accomplish what it's designed for. So kudos on that. That's the review. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Hit the like button and drop a comment. Let me know if you have this knife and what you think about it. Thanks so much.